This is Respectfully Outrageous with Nathan and Ben.
Today we're going to be talking about Jay Cutler and his move to sports broadcasting, the importance or the non-importance of bowl games, and the so-called new renaissance of running backs. Hope you enjoy. So Jay Cutler, we learned the news that he is done playing football and decided to go to the broadcasting booth. I'm like, okay, someone who knows the game can talk about the game, okay? But someone who has shown little passion for the game at some times is going to talk about the game on Sunday nights. That sounds like a problem to me, and here's why. Jay Cutler has not been the greatest quarterback in the NFC North at the time because that's Aaron Rodgers. But he also hasn't been the worst quarterback at the time because we've seen Dan Orlovsky take snaps and run out of the back of the end zone. So, when I learned the news of Jay Cutler, I'm like, wow, can anyone become a broadcaster now? And then I thought about it for a second. I went, he must be doing something, right? Because if you look off the field, you look at him, you look at his wife, and you're like, he's not making the most money in the division. He's not winning the most games. She was rich before she met him, so something must work out there. So I'm like, maybe he's going to use that charm to broadcast. But then again, this is the man who is notorious for throwing games. This is the guy who was hurt in a playoff game, but wasn't hurt enough to go into the locker room. This is also the guy who makes more money for doing less. This is the Darrelle Revis of quarterbacks. And yet he's going to make another money-grabbing gig. Now I'm thinking to myself, like, what else can Jay Cutler get away with doing? Because if you look at his production, it's not the worst in the NFC North. It's not the best. But if you also look at his win percentage, it is winning. It is actually, he has won more games than he has lost, which is really surprising. So did Tebow. Win more games than he did lose. But you also go, to that point, he did have a lot of talent in Chicago. He had Brandon Marshall, he had Alshon Jeffrey, he had Matt Forte. And if you look at him in Denver, he had some talent around him, but he could just never get it done. But also, most recently, those years, he didn't have a lot of talent around him. He really didn't. So, someone that was just good enough, the Tony Romo of Chicago without the Jerry Jones love, is now going into the press box. That is just disgraceful. That is disgraceful to American football to think, oh, if I can just be good enough to be good enough again at broadcasting, it's wrong for so many reasons. And it just shows that if you are a quarterback, it's basically not even a step up. It's just like the door is open, don't come on, fall on your face and come on in. And that's a problem because I think the American people deserve someone with broadcasting talent that knows what they're saying and actually generally cares about the game. I'm not saying Jay Cutler doesn't care about the game because it gets cold in Chicago in December. It gets cold.
But something that I noticed with Jay Cutler too is on the sidelines, he never smiled. He never looked like he was having a good time.
I've only seen him smile when he's on vacation. Because I don't even know why he goes on vacation. The season's always almost over in December anyway. Or when he's signing his paycheck. The man doesn't smile. The man does not smile. Well, I'm not going to say he doesn't care about his teammates because that's not true. We've had, I believe it was his guard Kyle Long come out. No, it was Kyle Long or Jake Long, one of the two brothers who recently retired, came out and said, defending out Jay Cutler and saying all these great things about him. I'm like, okay, I don't think he's a terrible person. But then he's also had Brandon Marshall, who will fall on a sword for every quarterback besides Geno Smith and Jay Cutler. Now, what do we know about Geno Smith? He punched somebody, okay. That explains Geno. And he was absolutely trash. Jay Cutler, why could this man never defend Jay Cutler? So that brings character questions into the issue, as an issue. But also, he's never really the leader. And to me, a quarterback doesn't have to be the leader of follow me Braveheart style into battle. But you can lead by example. And I don't think leading by example is sitting on the bench, aloof from your teammates, closer to the bench and the tunnel than your teammates. That's a problem. But I also don't think he has to be the Tom Brady yelling at his teammates, let's go, we need to come back now.
He won't be doing that anymore because he's in the broadcasting booth.
Right.
And I see where you're going, and it's almost like if football doesn't work, it almost seems like, oh, I can just go to broadcasting.
It's like his crotch. I still want to make money. I'm going to go to broadcasting. It seems easy. No.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. I mean, I don't know how Joe Buck still has a job, but then again, there's some great broadcasters like Al Michaels who's actually really good at what he does.
Oh, and Chris Collinsworth. I mean, they make a great team.
They do make a great team. But it's going to be interesting thinking about now when you say Tony Romo's going to call some Cowboys games.
Tony Romo, I can see more of being in the broadcasting system.
Very charming, very persuasive. Jerry Jones loves the man, going to his soccer games. Very, very, great person to be around.
And he's sociable. I mean, he relates well to people, but Jay Cutler he doesn't relate well with people. He just he seems kind of unaware or not even really caring.
I don't think he's not caring. I think it's more of, he's a self-made guy almost. Keeps his cards real close to his chest, and I don't know if he opens up off the field because I don't know him as a person. I don't know Tony Romo as a person, so I can't comment on how they operate off the field. But it just seems like Tony Romo, him and Jason Witten had this great chemistry. Him and Dez, him and Murray, him and Dak, the guy that replaced him.
Yeah, and I mean, Tony Romo's ready to go in with this great situation.
Yep. And
it was a struggle for him because he wasn't playing, right? He wasn't starting, but he still supported the team and he wanted to play football. And from what it seemed like to me, Jay Cutler didn't want to play football.
Which is kind of interesting because I was looking through some quotes that Jay Cutler had said, and one of the quotes is, I still want to play football, I'm not going to retire. Some time passes by, and then it says, Jay Cutler to the booth gave up gig with the Texans, who are a playoff contender, which I said are a playoff contender. You didn't think they were a playoff contender.
Oh, no, after the draft, I think they're a playoff contender.
Convenient.
No, because Deshaun Watson, I think he was the best quarterback in the draft, but that's beside the point. He'll keep going about the Texans.
And then he says he gives up a gig with the Jets. I won't want to play for the Jets either.
I won't either. That situation is pretty much the exact same from Chicago to New York.
I think it's better in Chicago, personally.
Yeah.
It's better in Chicago because
you got Jordan Howard.
You got Jordan Howard, he can run the football. You got somebody on defense named Leonard Floyd. Who do you have on defense for the Jets? Kelvin Pryor is going to get traded. Everyone wants rid of Leonard Williams. There's no one there for you on the Jets.
Besides, you could argue their best player is the rookie they just drafted, Jamal Adams. So
he is the best player on their team currently. Bryce Petty's going to be good. I hope he does well. He looked really great in his college career at Baylor. But that's not beside the point. Jay Cutler said he didn't want to retire. Then gives up these gigs. And then goes in the broadcasting booth. Who does this remind you of someone changing their mind to conveniently benefit them? That sounds like Brett Favre. He said the difference between Jay Cutler and Brett Favre. Favre's
could play football.
Favre's in the Hall of Fame. For two different teams. And what Favre did is he won playoff games. Yeah, Favre made these, what are you doing, Brett Favre moments, throwing it across the field, make you want to tear your hair off. But Brett Favre also won games, and you're just like, how did that happen? With Jay Cutler, you're like, okay, you only have 100 yards. Now you're like, how'd you get to 300 yards? When Jay Cutler has a great game, it's kind of like, took him long enough. But I also feel like part of the reason people hate Jay Cutler is because of his personality. And to be a broadcaster, you have to have great personality. So, I don't understand the change. I think it's disgraceful. I think it's outrageous. I think it's horrendous that he just going to hop into a profession that other people work hard to get at. And I personally, I'm not going to wish anyone to fail because that's wrong. It's a terrible thing to do. But I wouldn't be mad, and let's just say, if he got replaced by somebody else.
All right, and then, like I said, Tony Romo makes sense. I mean, this is one of the first football players in a while to go into broadcasting.
Right.
Troy Aikman did it. He's pretty good. Terry Bradshaw's pretty good. I mean, but that's not like 40 players from every Hall of Fame class or retiring class. It's the occasional one every couple of years or something.
It's not even the Hall of Fame ones. It's the ones that have personalities. That's why when people
and they know football and they relate to people. Because I mean, Troy Aikman he's a nice guy, right? And on television, he's not yelling and screaming. He's just very kind of there.
I mean, if you didn't know he played for the Cowboys, you couldn't tell because he's done a very good job of getting rid of his bias. And Romo said it's going to be a hard time getting rid of his bias for the Cowboys. I understand it. You and Jerry Jones are very good friends. You had a great relationship in Dallas. You and Jason Witten are best friends. Families hang out together. But with Jay Cutler, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Jay Cutler, if he has bias, then it just kind of ruins the entire system.
I don't even know who he'd have bias for. Because would he have bias towards his paycheck? Because that's the only thing he's shown affection for that I've seen.
It's a weird situation because all of a sudden you just kind of see it and it's like, oh, Jay Cutler, he's going to the broadcasting business, and it's like, what's the point? I mean, who really wants to see Jay Cutler in the broadcasting booth? No one.
I mean, it's like turning on the TV and you have Jimmy Clausen playing. You're like, oh, gross. I mean, Jimmy Clausen. Jimmy Clausen. That man's trash. The man's worse than Geno Smith. Jimmy Clausen is terrible. Just no. I don't care how many touchdowns he threw at Notre Dame. He's terrible. He shouldn't be on TV.
And, right, he doesn't have that X factor.
No.
I mean, Jay Cutler's not gonna pop off the screen.
No.
He's not gonna make you wanna watch their channel.
No.
Or their production.
I think CBS was smart not to offer him because they signed Tony Romo, but I think Fox kind of did as a copycat, keeping up to the Joneses move. Oh, they got a new quarterback. We got to get a quarterback. But really, if you wanted a quarterback, why not sign Mike Vick?
That's true.
Because Mike Vick's entertaining.
And he's good. And he knows football. And he's passionate about football.
Because without football, why would Mike Vick get his life back together? I think it was one of the things that brought his life back together for him. You know, he's got a good relationship with Arthur Blank. What better way to open the Falcons' new season, new stadium, opening week of the Falcons' new building, than have Michael Vick, one of the greatest quarterbacks in Atlanta Falcons history, calling games for Falcons. Fox is going to have Jay Cutler calling games for the Bears. And Trubisky's not even going to start. So you're going to have Mike Lennon.
Jay Cutler.
Mike Lennon on the field. Jay Cutler in the booth.
I don't want to watch that.
I don't want to watch Bears games either.
And honestly, that's an awful move for the NFL.
It's awful.
It's just...
Not even for the NFL, but for Fox.
Well, I mean, for the business side of the NFL, I'm saying. No one's going to watch that.
Well, but both sides. You didn't have any bandwagon fans in Chicago. They left when Devin Hester left.
Yeah.
There's no star player in Chicago that makes you go, ooh, I want to be a Bears fan, because, in Dallas you have Dak Prescott and Des Bryant.
Zeke Elliott.
Zeke. And then you got Taco Charlton, the guys with cool names. Now the Browns are going to have Jabril Peppers. Carolina's got Cam. New York's got Odell Beckham Jr. Miami's got
Steelers, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown.
The triplets. You had these people that you want to watch. Like, who do you want to watch? Jordan Howard? Jeffrey's gone. Cameron Meredith?
And Mike Glennon.
And apparently their corners don't even want to play cornerback anymore.
Yeah, it's just a bad situation all around.
NFL ratings have already been tanking, and this is just going to tank even more.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Do you think college bowl games are important for college prospects going into the NFL?
This really is a question I feel like I could go two ways. Because on one hand, you sign a contract, not really as in money, but you say, I'm going to play for this university, you're going to give me an education, and I'm going to go play football, and that's going to help pay for my education, or I'm going to be a walk-on and I'll pay to be on the team and go to school here. And part of me is, I feel like it's your last debt to the fans, to the coaching staff of that school, that you gave me a chance to play here, to prove myself here, and you gave me a stage to project myself into the National Football League. I think it's kind of like your cherry on the cake that you give back to the university. But I also think there's no guarantee in college football. That's why I said college football is more dangerous than the NFL. Injuries in college football are catastrophic. They are in the NFL as well. But if an NFL quarterback, Tom Brady, tears his ACL, do you know what Tom Brady has? He's got financial stability. If Lamar Jackson tears his ACL at Louisville. There is no guarantee that he's going to get paid anything. There is a guarantee in the draft, that is if he gets drafted and he falls behind because of an injury, like what happened with Jake Button, that's how he went so late to the Denver Broncos, which is a steal. But back to the question, should players play in the bowl game? Depending on how important the bowl game is. Because if
that's kind of a vague answer, though.
I mean, if you're number 2 in the nation, if you're number 2 and you're playing number 3 in the country to go to the national championship game and you're the star quarterback, absolutely. Like Deshaun Watson had to play in that game. Because without Deshaun Watson, Clemson doesn't get into the national championship game. There's no way Clemson 31-0's Ohio State without Deshaun Watson. And I think it also plays into factor the fact that if you're a junior or a senior or a sophomore or a redshirt freshman, like James was, depending on because Deshaun Watson was a junior, so he could leave right away.
Yeah.
But if you're a senior, then you've done your due diligence for the university. Obviously, I'd like to see you play in your last game, your last hurrah, or suit up for the last time. Zeke's talked about how much it means to him to play for his Ohio State Buckeyes. And Joey Bosa's come on and said the same thing. But it's not that I don't want them to play. And I think that's where fans are like, you need it to play. But I think people forget something really important. Injuries. And this is something really important because in college football, there is no safety net. There is no, you're not getting paid, so you can't use your money to keep you floating. There's no contract. The NCAA doesn't give you anything to help you out if that happens. The money that Jake Butt got because he fell only happens if you're actually projected to go high, and this is going to hurt your draft stock. So for players in college football, like Christian McCaffrey, he skipped. The running back from Stanford, he didn't play the game, and he took a lot of flack for that. Now, I didn't have a problem with it because Christian McCaffrey has been carrying the load for Stanford for a couple of years. He was the number 1 player on that team. And now everyone's talking about Solomon Thomas and how he was going to get drafted before him, and he did. Now, I think it also plays into position. Like, if you play defense, then most likely you probably should play because your injuries are less of a big deal. I mean, injuries now are less a big deal per position. They always stink at positions. But the chance of you getting injured on defense is more so your own doing. I mean, there's obviously the scary injuries on defense. But it's not like if you're on defense and you get a concussion, it's probably because you hit somebody. It's not like if you're on offense and you're a receiver and you got targeted, you can't really do much to protect yourself on offense. You're at the defender's mercy. So, to answer your question, I think, no, they should not have to play the game because there's no guarantee if they're going to make any money. There's no guarantee that they even make it to the NFL. And that's going to be their job for some of these players. Some of these players, like Josh Dobbs, is going to be if he doesn't make the NFL, he's going to be an aerospace engineer. The man's brilliant. But for Christian McCaffrey, he's still brilliant. Went to Stanford. But if he got injured in college football and never recovered, he's not going to get drafted in the NFL. He's not going to get a second chance. And he's already proved to the university that he's already given the university more than they've given him. Like Leonard Fournette was injured and gave the university more than they ever gave him. Because without Leonard Fournette, LSU was nothing. They haven't had a good quarterback since Charlie Whitehurst. Wasn't even a good quarterback. Do you know what team Charlie Whitehurst is on right now in the NFL? Do you know what team he's on?
I believe he's on the Colts.
I don't even know if he's the backup on the Colts. I couldn't tell you. I need an AVP on Charlie Whitehurst. Where is this man?
I'm pretty sure he's on the Colts. But yeah.
That's the last good quarterback to come out of LSU. That was like over 6 years ago. Years ago. Now, Leonard Fournette, greatest running back to come out of LSU. Was a stud running back, and everyone's like, we wanted to see him go against Lamar Jackson. We bought our tickets. We're going to go down to Florida. We were going to watch these two battle it out. These two monsters, quarterback running football. This freaking LSU. Leonard Fournette gets injured. Doesn't have to play. And I don't have a problem with that. Because you know you're going to be a good player in the next level. You don't want to risk your injury. But if you're not going to play, you should at least be at the game. Cheering your teammates. Because I don't want players hurting themselves just as a one last hurrah for the team. Because it doesn't. If you're not in like a national championship contention, it's just like a last game. It doesn't really mean much. It's like the last week 17 if you're not going to the playoffs. you still want to do it as some sense of pride. So, I don't think they should have to plan it, personally, because of injuries, and there's no guarantee for them. There's no benefit for them, schools even to play in it if they're not even in the national championship.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee for them to play in college anyway during the regular season. Like, the first week, they could get injured in the first week and be completely done with football. There's nothing to do with a bowl game. It's because you're saying the game of college football is more dangerous than the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're putting themselves at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're putting themselves at risk, why don't they go the one more game to prove to the NFL that, hey, I can play and I'm not going to back out? Because otherwise, because you can get injured in any game, anywhere. Anyone can get injured anywhere, but the NFL or the football is you can get injured often.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is no guarantee at all, not even just for the bowl game, but just for any other game. And in practice. I mean, we saw Teddy Bridgewater in the NFL slip and do something to his knee and had nerve damage, and he might not even play this year. That's 2 years in rehab. You don't know what they're going to do, and you have no idea if that's going to happen early in the season, which would definitely affect their NFL stock because they won't play the whole season.
What I want to point out to what you just said. You just said, basically from what I understood, is you're saying that college football, if you're gonna use then why would you play at all? The reason you play college football is, if you're anyone, it's because you love the game. It's because you love the game and you want to use the game to get to the next level for the NFL, or you want to use the game to bring you chances, the opportunity for your family, or for another job, or so you can get an education, or so that someone down the line in your family has a chance at an education. That's why you play college football. It's because you love the game, or the things that the game of football can bring to you. And
why would you play the extra game to achieve that purpose?
Let me finish this point. But the reason you don't play that extra bowl game is you don't. If you win a bowl game, if you win the Orange Bowl, Florida State didn't win anything. They didn't win the national championship. Didn't give them the chance to go to the ACC championship game. Didn't do that. But they just played that game for pride. Now, Dalvin Cook, great running back, didn't have to play that game. He could have ended his career. He could have never played for the Vikings. We don't know if he'll ever play for the Vikings. But he could have torn his knee. Jabril Peppers had a hamstring before that game. Pulled it, couldn't play. Did it hurt his draft stock? No. But it could have. And there's nothing that Jake Butt's going to get out of that game. Nothing that Jabril Peppers is going to get out of the game. Nothing that Dalvin Cook's going to get out of that game. We already know Dalvin Cook can run. We already know he's a great running back. We already know these things. And the games before that you mentioned, that why do you play those? You play those because you love the game and you love your teammates.
Yeah, but if you love the game and you love your teammates, why don't you play one more game with them?
That's where Zeke says, yeah, you play no matter what. This is where I differ from Zeke. I'm not an NFL running back, obviously. I don't look good in mid-draft. But I disagree with him because those games are, you're expected to play those games for your team. Not that you're not expected to play the bowl games. It's kind of a new standard that McCaffrey has created. But if you don't play that game, you save yourself for the next level. And the injuries in college football are already bad. And you don't want to hurt yourself with no risk-reward potential. And in college football, it's always, I'm going to do this because the school's going to pay for me to go to school here, and I'm going to pay them back by playing. And if you get them to a bowl game and you carry them there, that's enough. This is the cherry on a cake that you've already given them. You don't need to give them that extra thing.
But the bowl game makes some of the most money for universities.
I completely disagree. I mean, look at it. You're going to a neutral site, like, let's take the Orange Bowl. Florida State, Michigan. Hard Rock Stadium. How much money do you think that game did for Michigan? Because it was a neutral site. And I say neutral because I looked at the stands, and it was mostly Florida State because it was in Miami.
I'm not saying just ticket cost, though. I'm talking about television ratings as well.
Right.
Which is publication for the university, right? Because people, if they know that the star player's not going to play, why would they want to watch?
Good point.
If that, like, for instance, if Leonard Fournette decided not to play, or Lamar Jackson for that point, why would I want to watch the game? Because he's the main reason I watch Louisville, or the main reason I watch LSU.
Good point.
So why would you step out and almost, in a way, kind of handicap the university?
Good point.
Because people aren't gonna watch because they're looking for you. So in a sense, you're not paying back or giving something back to the university. You're saying, nah, I don't really want to. I'm doing it for myself.
I think an example. Let's use the Leonard Fournette example that you used. Leonard Fournette has been giving it to the university since his freshman year. Since he ran that touchdown in, did the Heisman pose. He's been giving everything he's had to LSU. He's been carrying that team to all these wins. He's the reason they were ranked. Yeah, they had a ton of talent, but he's the reason they were ranked. And the beating that man took against the games that he played against Alabama, I've never seen a running back take so much punishment in a game and not complain about it. And that just says something about his character. And the fact that he was injured and some say he should just run through it, that's a problem. Because it's about his health. And he can't play in the next level if he's not healthy.
I thought it was about the game.
It also is about the game. But the game, if we're going to talk about the player, we also talk about the game because you can't play the game without players.
Correct.
And the game itself doesn't mean anything. The game that they're going to play wouldn't mean anything. To the university, it's not going to determine where they're going to be ranked next year. It's going to be pride for the head coach who was already fired for overusing the running back who got fired for that. It's not going to help Louisville in any stance because Lamar Jackson played in that game. It's not going to help anybody in that game other than it's like a final practice. So therefore, for the fans, obviously you want to see him play. But what does the running back get out of it? The school, you've given the school everything that they deserve. You've been doing that for several years. You've been carrying the team. So you don't owe the team anything else.
But for some players that go to the NFL at a younger age, the sophomore,
right?
And for example, just take sophomore, they haven't been doing a lot for the university.
Right. So
if they declare for the NFL draft and they're just, I'm not going to play in the bowl game, but they haven't given the university much, why is that a good thing?
I disagree. If you're a sophomore and you declare for the NFL draft and you're expected to go high, I think you've brought a ton of attention to the university saying that, well, this is a good program. That if he's only a sophomore and he left early, it just shows, wow, that coaching staff knows what they're doing. Wow, that fan base is really supportive. Wow, that's a good program. Maybe I want to go there. And I think if you leave early, it shows, wow, this is a good program. Maybe I can go there too. I think it draws attention.
But again,
you're losing that
people want to watch him. Why would he step out for the final game? Because the people want to watch him, right?
Yeah.
If he doesn't play, who are they going to watch? They have the rest of the team, but he's the one drawing the most attention. People want to watch him. When people go watch the Golden State Warriors,
yeah,
do they go to watch JaVale McGee?
I do. I love watching JaVale McGee fail. Because it's
I
entertaining.
understand.
It's therapeutic to watch a JaVale McGee fail.
But
it's therapeutic.
what I'm getting at is people go to watch Steph Curry and Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Right? And people don't go to watch the bench warmers. Or the people that come in the third quarter and play a couple minutes. They want to watch the star players. And there's some controversy about this in the NBA as well with sitting LeBron James.
Let me talk about minutes here. Let me talk about minutes. I don't know a ton about basketball, but I do know minutes can be a big thing. If you're LeBron James and you're carrying the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's okay to sit minutes. But sitting games, if you sit a couple games, because in basketball there's more games, obviously.
Right.
And if you sit a game in the NFL, if Tom Brady sits one game, whoa, that's a huge deal.
That's the point. In college, they're on 162 games or whatever.
Right.
So why would you not play the one more?
Because that one game is like a preseason game. It's like a glorified preseason game. Do you see Carson Palmer play the whole preseason game? Do you see that? Do you see Cam Newton say the whole game?
But the college player, the prospect,
yeah,
could also play a half.
Okay.
Because
it's fair.
Because then, you've got the fans. I get to watch this guy. Mm-hmm. And then you get to see some new guys.
Okay.
Because
fair.
If the prospect plays the first half, right?
Mm-hmm.
You draw the fans in, they're going to watch.
Okay.
You get that exposure for that half.
Okay.
And they're drawn in. If it's a good game, they're going to be drawn in.
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to continue to watch regardless of what happens to that prospect.
Yeah.
So that's why they need to play that game. If they don't play that game, no one's going to try and watch it because they don't want to watch the other people because they have no idea how they're going to play.
Right.
But if you integrate it slowly in that game, you're helping the university and the team and the coaching staff a lot.
Sounds like clickbait. We're going to put something there that you really want to see, and then we're going to take it away. It's not really going to be there, but we're going to take it away.
Well, play him for 3 quarters. What I'm saying is, I understand the risk of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think you got to play that final game. It's important to your team, your coaching staff, the university, and it's kind of a pride game. It's your last one.
Yeah.
Play for it.
I have to disagree on that one. It's a good point. I like this idea of splitting it up the time, but it's not a preseason game. This game kind of matters. It matters more than a preseason game in the NFL, but it doesn't actually help your team. So I would have to disagree and say maybe the first, maybe half and half thing, but that's a clickbait thing. You're getting people to go watch it believing that they're going to see Leonard Fournette for the whole game.
Yeah, but people aren't going to go watch it anyway if Leonard Fournette isn't going to play at all.
Right.
So you kind of run that line of, well, what are you going to do? Because if you don't play, no, you lose them entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But if you play them a little bit, or play them for some of the time, you get some people. Yeah, some people might be mad, oh, he didn't play the whole game, but you got people. And you got publicity, and you played for the pride, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the bowl games kind of are. I understand that the bowl games aren't of huge importance, but if you love the game and you love your teammates, you love where you go, right? Why not play one more game?
I think the one important thing is fan loyalty, because fans are those fans that are going to sit in a hurricane and watch you play. The NC State fans that sat there and watched them play Notre Dame this year in the driving rainstorm, that is fan loyalty. It is fan loyalty when it's pouring rain at Clemson Stadium and you sit there. That's fan loyalty. When it's 100 degrees in Arizona and you're still there, that's fan loyalty. Now, I'm not saying when your team's getting blown out 30-0 and it's freezing cold in Minnesota, you have to say, no, you don't. It's the Gophers. Get up and leave. But you shouldn't just prey on your fans and just saying, well, just ignore them. Because your fans are the ones that bring in the money. You're the fans that are the ones that come see you play. The fans are the ones that make it possible for you to have revenue, to have these players. In the first
But
place.
also, indirectly, the players get the fans to come in, right?
True.
I mean, look at the Golden State Warriors. They were nothing. And then all of a sudden, boom. They're the most popular team ever. And you walk around anywhere and there's some sort of Golden State jersey or hat or shoes. I don't even know. Just stuff everywhere. And so that wouldn't happen without the players.
But that's also creates controversy because when Steph Curry doesn't play, there's chaos. No one shows up. When Steph Curry doesn't play, he's not there. So sitting games in the NBA is not as big of a deal because you have the chance to make it up. In college football, you sit a bowl game, that doesn't matter. Okay, you've annoyed your fan base, but you're not lying to your fan base and saying this player is going to be there, and then him not play the rest of the half, and that's what I have a problem with.
But you could also do, he's a first down runner. You put some guy in on second down and he plays on third down. You could do that. There are options because if you don't play, fans get angry because then they're going to be like, oh, I missed the chance to see him last week or the week before because they were banking on going to the bowl game because it was where they lived.
Right. That's a good point.
Because some people, fans of any sport, they like football teams that aren't where they live.
Right.
And for instance, if like the Super Bowl in Minnesota this year, it's coming here. If let's say the Patriots and the Cowboys got there, and they're
not
like,
happen.
I'm not saying it's going to. I'm just
Very good.
going. But let's say Tom Brady and Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott were like, yeah, we're not going to come. How disappointed would you feel?
I would feel disappointed. I would feel betrayed. And here's why I would feel
Exactly, and that's the point.
That's not, you're comparing the Super Bowl, the biggest game in American sports, to the Orange Bowl, a 22-team ranked team and like a 17th ranked team. Super Bowl generates billions. This game doesn't mean anything. See? Good point, but I see where you're coming from, but as someone who wants to see these players thrive on Sunday night football, Thursday night, yes, I said Thursday night. I enjoy Thursday night football. And someone wants to see these players at the next level play against Shazier and all these great defensive players and offensive players and great coaching staff, seeing them in different uniforms and at the next level. I don't want to risk that for a game that doesn't matter. And the point of, you said
But
that...
the game does matter.
To some.
To a lot.
To some.
To a lot. I know a lot of people that get together and watch bowl games because they're a fan of the team and they want to see the team play. Because, hey, it's the last game. Let's go all out for it. Oh, but this guy's not playing, so it's not going to be worth it.
I think that if you're only there for the player, then you're not there for the team. You're there for the player.
Well, but the team is or the player is part of the team.
Right. I think we're gonna. I can't agree with you on that one.
Well, but I can't agree with you on that one either.
That's disgusting.
No. It's
player safety.
There are fair
to
points to each. There are, I can see your points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, injuries are an issue.
Yes.
But if injuries are an issue, why are people playing in the first place? Yeah, I love the game, and I know I'm risking injuries.
But you're going to get potentially $1 million contract in the NFL. Potentially. And the fame and all the things that it can bring for your family. It can get you out of poverty like it did to Leonard Fournette.
How many people does that happen to?
I think
30, 32? This year's 31 that got picked in the first round on that Thursday night?
Second round picks, they're going to make some money.
I don't. Yeah, they do. But they played in the bowl game, did they?
Leonard Fournette didn't play in that bowl game. Christian McCaffrey didn't play in that bowl game.
The first rounders didn't play, but the second rounders, they're still going to make money.
Did they play in the bowl game?
They played bowl game.
Dalvin Cook played in that bowl game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't injured.
Yeah.
Peppers was injured. He still got picked.
If you're injured before the bowl game, that's fair. Not playing. If you're injured, or if you are fresh off an injury, I can see not playing. But if you're healthy, why not play?
Christian McCaffrey still got picked 8th by the Panthers. That didn't seem to be a problem for them.
But realistically, would he have gone higher if he had an amazing game in the bowl game?
I honestly don't think Jacksonville was going to take him over Fournette because they wanted a strong, up-the-gut runner.
The Chicago Bears could have taken him because who knows what the Chicago Bears do.
They have Jordan Howard. They wouldn't make sense.
What about the 49ers?
They have Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde.
What about Carlos Hyde? Why do you hate Carlos Hyde?
He fumbles a ton.
He went to Ohio State, the same school that Zeke did. He was a great runner at Ohio State. He's a good runner.
Yeah, but
Chip
nothing.
Kelly that made him look bad.
But you can't translate everything from college to the NFL.
Carlos Hyde was really good before Chip Kelly got there.
So Chip Kelly's a mess.
Chip Kelly has a knack for ruining black players' careers. He's a knack for doing it.
But back to the point. So I think we can both agree, yeah, injuries are an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to disappoint fans.
Right.
In some cases, yeah, it's okay to sit, but disappointing the fans is an issue. And if you're out of the state, out of the college area,
right,
and the game comes to you, you want to see those players play, right? Because they're famous players. You want to watch them because then you can say, I watched the 4th overall pick play in the NFL.
Would your solution be, because my concern is the safety net that they have in the NFL, if their career ends today, will they be financially secure?
But as we've seen, if NFL doesn't work, just go to broadcasting.
Just pull Jay Cutler. Good point.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
And super, good college players, they can get solid jobs anywhere.
Tebow.
Exactly. He's in the minor leagues for the MLB.
No, even before Tebow was doing that, he was on the stage debating Stephen A. Smith. He was on Fox. He was on CBS. He was doing these things because Tebow is likable and.
Right. There are other options. So that's why I think playing in the bowl game is important because the upsides are better than the downsides.
I disagree. And at that point, we could argue about this all day. But
Yeah, we could. But some interesting points to listen to. I think we can both say injuries, are a problem.
Yeah.
In any sport, and actually anywhere. I mean,
even in the workforce.
I mean, mowing your lawn, cutting your finger off. I mean, you just.
You really had to go there?
I mean, I'm just saying.
That's gross. That's disgusting, man. It's gross.
I didn't give details.
You said cut your finger off. Why couldn't you just say, like, you stubbed your toe on the sump pump or something?
Oh, sure. We'll go with that. Or you broke your finger. Or you broke your arm.
What's with your
falling
finger?
off.
Seriously.
Oh, you break your arm off the monkey bars. Whatever. Anyway, injuries are a problem. Bowl game, or watching people play is important for some fans. A lot of fans, actually. And you discuss team loyalty, and that's also a big part. I mean, they're going to watch the team, whatever. Yeah. I mean, fan loyalty to the team is what I was saying. And, I mean, it's interesting overall. But that was a good discussion. And we could go on about this.
So in recent years, the running back has been a position that has decreased in stature. And then the Cowboys, last season, the 4th overall pick, took Ezekiel Elliott. And has brought back like a renaissance of the running back. Do you think Zeke is the reason the running back is becoming a more important position?
I will say that Zeke, being as good as he is bringing, and his role in Dallas Cowboys is definitely helping the running back image, the role of the running back. However, the image of the running back is a little tarnished because a lot of the good running backs are retiring, getting old. For instance, Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles, to name a couple. And they, in free agency, right, everyone thought, oh, these guys are going to go. No. They just got signed a week or two ago. It's been, I don't know how long it's been, month and a half, 2 months. And it's the older guys kind of, their more traditional style, being older and them fumbling and getting injured, kind of puts some doubt in people's minds. Like, I don't think we need the running backs as much. And then you start getting Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, guys that can run. Tom Brady can't really.
Tom Brady can. How many rushing touchdowns does this man that are not QB sneaks?
I'm just saying. Some have developed the newer ones, for instance, like Marcus Mariota. Jameis Winston can run a little bit too. Dak Prescott.
Just a little big when he does it though.
But the point is, they can pass and they can run. So, I think what happened was the running back position kind of morphed into part of the quarterback. And teams were like, well, we're not going to go and try and get a running back because we can get a quarterback that can run. Why? But, I mean, if you look at the New England Patriots, Tom Brady does not run. They have a running back, or 2 or 3, that actually have a role. And like Dak Prescott, he can roll out, play action, right? He doesn't scramble a ton from what we've seen. And then they hand it to Zeke. I think if you have the established running back position, if you have that established position, you're almost better. Because quarterbacks are way more susceptible to injuries.
I wouldn't say that.
What?
I wouldn't say that.
Well, as we've seen, I mean, if quarterbacks get injured, it's more of an issue. Teams make it a bigger issue than it really is. And running backs, the image, Zeke has kind of brought it back a little bit. But then you get Leonard Fournette, right? Drafted high, Christian McCaffrey. I think running backs are starting to increase in relevance again. Because, like, for instance, Peyton Manning. Everyone was like, oh, well, you don't need a running back. You get like a Peyton Manning. Throws the ball. Knows the game. You don't really need to run the ball. But as we've seen from the Cowboys going from 13-3, and their running percentages was 40-60%, something like that. And normal teams are like 30-70%, 30 run percent and pass 70% of the time. And I think teams are starting to see that, hey, that works. The 60-40. Almost 50-50. I mean, you're giving him 20, 25 carries a game, and they're winning ball games. And their defense is not that stellar. And
that's saying something right now. Because they lost some people on defensively.
Right.
They don't really have a pass rush in Chuckle Charlton. It's more of a run stopper. But I think the way that they use their defensive linemen and move them around, the way they've used David Irving, I think he will be more of a pass rush. I think the defense will be better. But the thing is, can they run the ball 25 to 30 times, and can Dak pick up those 3rd and 3s, those 3rd and 4s, and try to stay out of the 3rd and 7, the 3rd and 10, the 3rd and 13? Because that's where you go, oh boy.
Right, and and that's when you need a good running back. Like on first down, if you're going to run the ball, you want him to get 5-6 yards, not 2, right? And then the 2nd and 8, and then you try pass incomplete, it's 3rd and 8. And so what teams were like, well, why do we even try? And we should just pass the ball. But running backs coming back into play, and I think that changes the game just a little bit, not a ton. But the running back position has really come back, kind of rejuvenated a little bit. With the performance of Zeke and with Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey getting drafted so high. Because kind of the old guys were going out, And Jamal Charles said, I always wanted to play for the Broncos.
Which is a big problem for me.
It really is. And because he was on the Chiefs and they were in the same division.
They played him twice a year. The man's 30 years old, played for the Chiefs, and he had fumbling problems. And if you remember, didn't they lose a game because of the fumble that was picked up by Bradley Roby? I'm not saying he put that thing on the turf, but he said he always wanted to play for the Broncos.
And that brings, because injuries to those guys, and AP fumbles a lot, Jamal Charles fumbles a lot.
Notorious for it.
And I think teams were they didn't want to risk that turnover ratio because a lot of teams with the increasing accuracy of quarterbacks and strength of quarterbacks, there's a little less interceptions. Not, I wouldn't say a ton, but there still are interceptions. But with quarterbacks getting more accurate, it's becoming more difficult to get interceptions.
Can I stop you there for a second?
Hmm?
Can I pause you there for a second?
Yeah.
You're just kind of going the Cutler way, like Alabama. I just wanted to see if I could stop you there, like a little
Yeah.
bit.
Okay.
But what you're saying about defensive interceptions going down, I don't ever think the offense is ever going to come to the point where they're just going to be so dominant you can just throw the ball 85% of the time and just complete and have crazy.
I'm not saying it will be either, but teams wanted to eliminate the fumbles.
Right.
The things that can be prevented.
Right, and I think the way that the interceptions reason they're going down is because of the way defenses have been forced to play because of rule changes and
pass interference.
Pass interference calls, defensive holding, illegal touching, catch interference, all these things that have come into play because I think the officiating is so offensively lenient of, well, yeah, you can push off as long as you're not Jimmy Graham in the end zone trying to catch a game-winning touchdown. But you can do all these things. I feel like the officiating is so beneficial towards the offense that, yes, these numbers are going to go down defensively.
I mean, and that's brings up the running back question and Zeke had what, 2 fumbles last season?
I don't even remember seeing them. I couldn't tell you what games they were in.
Both those fumbles were in one game against Washington. It was his second game of the year.
Yeah.
And actually, Jerry Jones took him out in the fourth quarter and put Alfred Morrison. And you know what Zeke did at that practice that following day? He was protecting the football, and he was working on that. Mm-hmm. And I think teams started to see that fumbles can be prevented. Like, we don't have to give up these fumbles and these turnovers. And I think Zeke's motivation to improve himself helped other running backs such as Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey to get drafted so high because now there's higher expectations, but they can do it.
I don't think it was so much the Zeke game against Washington that you want to allude to that was the spark that lit this fire back.
Well, no, it was also the second game of his career.
Right.
So, I mean, it was just a learning process for him, but he definitely took those lessons that he learned in that game and worked on them in practice.
But I do think that brought back the running back to the stature of the glory of kids going, I want to be a running back, not saying, I want to be Odell Beckham Jr., but I want to be Zeke. I think it's not what Zeke actually does. It's the Zeke brand. The brand of Ezekiel Elliott, the fact of, I'm going to take a handoff. I'm going to start stirring like James Harden. And I'm going to hit the gut, and I'm going to go 60 down the field. Or I can catch out of the backfield. Or I can hurdle you. The fact that, oh, Dak, you need me to do a pass block? Oh, I can chip him for you. Oh, there's no one open? I can do a halfback screen to the house for 80 yards, now run Shazier, my teammate.
Zeke is quite the... he can do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really good, and it helps the running back image, like you're saying. Because now teams are like, oh, he doesn't just have to run the ball.
Right.
Because that's where I think teams were getting... Because, oh, he only has to run the ball, and then he fumbles.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why would I want someone like that?
If you're going to do one thing, you have to be superb at your craft. Like, Leonard Fournette is notorious for running the football up the gut and only up the gut. He can do other things. He can do tosses. He can do stretches. He can catch the ball in the backfield. It's a little wobbly. He's got some... He doesn't quite catch with the great hands like Adrian... He doesn't have great hands, similar to Adrian Peterson. But if you're going to be like Leonard Fournette, you have to be the best running back.
Right.
Whereas Zeke, he doesn't have to be the fastest because his game does not speed. His game is not pure up, I'm going to run the tackle, but he can catch, he can run, he can receive, he can block. He can do all these things.
And he can run out of any formation.
And I think that Zeke brand style of running back. I don't think Le'Veon Bell was the precursor to every running back. We all thought that Le'Veon Bell was going to be the running back. We're going to see running backs like Le'Veon Bell. But I think Zeke is the true brand that we're going to see everyone make a running back off of. Because when they say Julio Jones, if you're going to make a Madden career player out of like something based on Julio Jones, the player we all thought we were going to do before was going to be Josh Gordon. 6'4", really fast, strong, but it's going to be Julio Jones we're going to base off of. For running back, we all thought it was going to be Le'Veon Bell, LaShawn McCoy. No, it's going to be Zeke. We're going to base off speed, strength, ability to catch to the backfield, and we're not going to fumble. But the thing is, we talked about quarterbacks. We all thought it was going to be Cam we're going to base off of. These huge guys, great arms. Don't really care. You can run over people. But I think most people are going to base their quarterbacks more off of James Winston. Good arm, can run, can do enough things, but more so, back to the running back thing is, the running back brand died because Adrian Peterson wasn't the rusher that he was. You had the injuries after injury to Jamal Charles. DeMarco Murray had the atrocity in Philly. I don't even want to talk about his stats in Philly. I don't even know what they were. They're just bad. It was a horrible season in Philly. But the running back just died. And then Zeke came out of nowhere. And then just brought it back. And now everyone's like, you know what? Let's try to do something like Carolina does. We don't need to do the read option, shovel option, quarterback draw. But what we can do is the 50-50 or the 55-45 thing. Or the 60-40. And we can run the ball more, create more chances for our offense, and not make mistakes. And I don't think that position really ever disappeared, but I think it was the fact that turnovers, like you said so earlier, that everyone wants to avoid because everyone hates turnovers. And that's why you practice turnover Thursday, because you don't want to have turnovers. And they just give the game away. And when people wanted to avoid that, so they thought if we go spread offense, 5 wide, 1 quarterback, even if we're going to keep a running back in, we're going to keep him in for pass block like what Aaron Rodgers did with the Green Bay Packers early in the season. They didn't have a running game, and he wasn't healthy. So they had Ty Montgomery. They did some quarterback, like wide receiver runs. And they just lined him up at wide receiver and just like some screens or some sweeps, a little bit of draws. But then when they really went back, they put Ty Montgomery as a committed running back in the backfield. They started winning games. And it wasn't because Aaron Rodgers said, relax, and this offensive line...
We're gonna run the table.
We're going to run the table and relax, and they can just go up into Philly and beat everybody. No, it's because Ty Montgomery, they used a running back, they controlled the clock, and they did all these things. They gave their defense a chance to win games. And that's what Dallas did effectively. That's what Carolina's done effectively. And that's what Tennessee does. And I think Tennessee is a flashback of a team that we don't see much anymore. Run the ball a lot. Keep it really simple for your quarterback. Read option, shovel option, quarterback draw. Make the defense stay honest. Keep the guys in the box, which gives you different looks down the field, which I think is going to be helpful for the new weapons they have in Tennessee. But I think the running back is extremely important, and I think it benefits because everyone wants to be the wide receiver because you can catch the ball and run away from everybody and dance and do these cool things in the end zone. and you get on stage with Drake. But if you're the running back, you get to keep forcing to keep people out of the box, which creates the one-on-ones for Odell Beckham Jr. And when we see more like Zeke, we haven't seen him line up wide at X, but I think we could see Zeke do that next year. Now Le'Veon Bell does that, but just some things that Zeke does that Le'Veon Bell doesn't do. And I think Le'Veon Bell, the style of running back that he is, the LaShawn McCoy, I think that's going to die. That style is just going to make everybody miss. I think the more Zeke is the more way to go. It just is versatile, but they're more of a straight line runner. Like the DeMarco Murray, I think we're going to see the most running backs in the NFL are going to look more like DeMarco Murray.
And with that style of running comes a little shorter lifetime.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it works.
It works.
And when you get young players that know how to do it, you don't care. Because because what matters is, when can I win a Super Bowl in the short amount of time?
Because Jerry Jones said, win now. Win now. The Browns are trying to win in 3 years, like everyone thinks they're trying to. Hugh Jackson said, win now. And they have a win now running back in David Johnson. Now, when you say shorter lifespan, obviously the fans want to see a running back play forever.
Right.
But one of the greatest running backs of all time, Barry Sanders.
Yes, I was just going to say.
Didn't have a great lifespan. Emmitt Smith kind of looks a lot like Zeke. I'm not saying Zeke's going to be Emmitt, but look at the style of running back. He didn't have a great lifespan, but he was effective. So I think we're going to see running backs be popular, but they're going to fizzle out. They're going to be these quick fizzle out.
But then you're going to get a lot more that want to be running backs, so there's going to be a flood of people that want to be running backs, so there's going to be a bigger pool, which
you might get
could be good or bad.
You might get the guy the Adrian Peterson that plays for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're going to get more Brandon Jacobs, the good for a couple of years, the Marion Barbers, crazy for a couple of years. But I don't think you're going to see the beast mode. I'm great for 5-10 years not down the field, because he's great down the field, but
down the
line, because once you get to like 29, 30 something, people are going, well, we got to look at his age. Because a quarterback, you're 34, yeah, no big deal. Wide receiver 34, okay, you're not the fastest. Running back at 34, 1 year deal.
Yeah.
1 year deal. I mean, if you're a linebacker at 34, okay, we won't have you cover, Hunter Henry down the field one-on-one, but we can find ways to move you around. Stephen Tully will put you in middle linebacker, we'll keep you in the box. There's ways you can keep, like you can increase the age of a corner by moving him up to safety, which I think Sherman would be good at.
But for running backs, it's once you're in running back, you're kind of put there. I mean, you could say, you could also go to wide receiver, but when you take the damage...
Because the problem that gets their running backs, in my opinion, is the thing that got Adrian Peterson is his speed. Like, breakaway. Like, if you look at Adrian Peterson, his most recent highlights, he would be running down the field, and he'd get caught by Ziggy Ansah and Darius Slay. The old Adrian Peterson never got caught.
Right.
And...
if you look at Zeke, too, he rarely got caught. It looked like he was so close, but man, he's flying. And
a couple of years, he's still going to get out of the holes, but he's just going to get run down. Like the Lacey's.
But his game, he will get smarter. I mean, because this guy led the league in rushing last year, so rookie.
It's not all him.
The
Great Wall of Dallas parted the defenses like the Red Sea.
But hold on. But the year before, they also had Darren McFadden and Lance Dunbar. Yeah, Darren McFadden was a 1,000-yard rusher, but he did not make the same plays that Zeke did.
He also didn't have the same quarterback play.
Fair, that's true. And I mean, but overall, the running back position has really kind of been brought back to life, almost kind of rejuvenated,
like a new renaissance.
Right, a new movement of different types of running backs.
Because you have your Power, your Adrian Peterson,
your Marshawn Lynch,
Beast Mode, and silver and black.
That looks so good.
I want him on Madden 18 cover. Make it happen, EA.
Yes, that'd be so cool.
You have your shifty LaShawn McCoy.
And your patient Le'Veon Bell.
Too patient. He's too patient.
Oh he's too patient for my liking, but...
I'm not going to argue with his stats. I'm not going to argue with his stats against Buffalo. But McCoy, the way he cuts back across the field, you're just kind of no. Yes.
Yeah.
So, with Zeke, you're just like, okay, 2-yard carry. Whoa, Zeke's up the gun. He's gone.
Yeah.
I think with Zeke, it's just like, okay, 4, okay, a couple yards, just like, okay. Boom, he's gone. And I think think running backs like that are going to be, people want more running backs like that because you're just like, we got this, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
You have that with Murray, you have that with Henry. And I think that's what you're going to have with Leonard Fournette. With McCaffrey, you're going to be like, okay, what are you doing? No. Yes, no. And I think running backs like McCaffrey and Zeke that you can line them up and throw the football to them as a receiver are an absolute nightmare because you put them on a linebacker down the field.
They're gone. Yeah.
You're gone. And if you put them on a corner, the corner has the coverage to cover them. But if the corner doesn't make the tackle, then your linebackers, the people that can go tackle them, your safeties are going to have to go run down.
Yeah. Anyway, the running back position is really doing well.
It's refreshing.
It is refreshing, and it's fun to watch it too. I really do enjoy some classic running.
I'm never gonna miss the days of a big 235-pound running back going to the secondary and absolutely punish a corner or a safety that tries to come into the box.
I really want to see Marshawn Lynch play again. I hope he's beast mode again.
I really want to see Leonard Fournette run right into Cam Chancellor. I want to see that happen.
Yeah, well, we might.
We won't see in the Super Bowl, that's for sure.
All right. Well, thank you for listening again. Some good topics, some arguments.
Yep. Some agreements.
Yep. But, it was a good time again. And we hope you enjoy your week. This has been Respectfully Outrageous with Nathan and Ben. Thanks for listening.